Hello, hello. Happy May 28th, 2024, or whenever you catch this replay. I pray that you are well and that you have had a good Memorial weekend and are in the flow of things and are safe from the Dallas storms that have been really hitting all of North Texas and even across the state. So prayers for everyone that's been impacted. I know it's been kind of a crazy time of weather and extreme weather that has been happening. So pray that y'all are well. And I will not be on here long. I already went live on IG, but had to come on to share with my Facebook family too, because today is a significant day in my life and the life of the ministry that God gave me, Bold Believers United. So I just wanted to share some reflections, share just the faithfulness of God, and that he has literally brought me. He has brought me this far, literally only through and by his grace. So May 28th is significant for me because it was this day in 2015 that the idea of Bold Believers United was conceived. And more than it being conceived, it's the day that God clearly called me to create it, to start it, to birth it in the earth. And that was Bold Believers United Ministries. May 28th, 2015 is when God literally interrupted my plans as I was moving full steam ahead, working for school districts. I was just getting back in town from a conference at Harvard and getting back to Dallas from Boston, and was literally moving full steam ahead to even create an educational consulting company in a matter of just a few days before I had a meeting that I was going to pitch my business at, that I wasn't even formed yet, but in my mind, I was going to get it done. And if you know me, just, you know that I would do it all in 72 hours. But on that journey, God literally interrupted my plans, and he said to me, when are you going to be about my business? I was on my way to Austin College to speak to a group of students about influence and leadership. And God said to me, when are you going to be about my business? And also, like, who were you leading? And I was leading. I had a team I was leading. I was leading hundreds of students and families across the school district, but God was inviting me to be about his business and lead people to Jesus Christ. So the words that God spoke to me, and I share this, the detailed story on my podcast, Unrestricted, but I am commemorating this day of May 28th, 2015, because it's when God called me to start Bold Believers United. And 9 years later, here we are, and still standing and still going, literally only by God's grace. And God said to me that people are dying and don't know Jesus. Do something. So in that, people are dying, they don't know Jesus, do something. When am I going to be about his business? Because I was doing my own thing. And I kept saying, after this, and after grad school, after I get adjusted to Dallas from Chicago, and after this, right? And hey, Marquis. And in that, God was inviting me to surrender to his will for my life and not just my own plans, right? Because we get to planning, we have a vision, we go after it. But how often do we include God in that plan? How often do we consult him for what his plans are, not our plans? And so God allowed me to do my plan, fulfill it for years and years. And it came down to this point, May 28th of 2015, when he said, people are dying, they don't know Jesus, do something. And he said, unite my people, unite my children across the globe. And gave me the name Bold Believers United. I didn't make it up. It was literally a directive from God. Thank you, Marquis. He said, keep doing God's work, my friend. I know Marquis since high school, so decades, and you've seen the journey. So thank you. I appreciate that encouragement, because this is the Lord's work. It is his doing. This was not my plan. If you know me, just know, this was not my plan. I definitely would have gone a different path, but would have done the Lord's work on the side. You know, I would have served in church on the side, would have done part of it, but it would not have been the main thing in which I have been pursuing, not just spiritually, but, you know, like full time. Like, what? He said, absolutely. Like, this was not it. Like, I went to Northwestern to go down a different path and to make money, to make big money. And I finished in 2012 with my master's in org change, and then God brought me to Dallas. And here we are all these years later. I never imagined like ministry and this journey that I have been on for these past 9 years, but God has been faithful, and is his doing. It's not mine. This was not my vision. This was me obeying God's vision, God's calling for Bold Believers United Ministry. And he told me to unite his people across the globe, and that he would show me what was next. And I am just literally acknowledging that this is the day. This is the day, May 28th, now 9 years later, of when that encounter between me and God happened, and I said yes. And I didn't follow him exactly the way he said do it, even though I gave him a yes. And I created the URL and made sure that, you know, I took the name off of that. I made sure I owned the name and all the things. Like, I started taking those steps, and I created a plan to leave my job, but I didn't follow completely. And a lot of people don't know that one of the first directives that God gave me was to create a line of merchandise so people can boldly wear their faith. And I started designing things, and I even launched a couple of items that I sold at conferences, and they sold to people across the world, literally across the globe, and from different countries and even continents. Like, literally it was selling. But I had the vision for the designs, but I didn't know products. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know the vendors. How do I get the cost down? And then fulfilling the orders and stuffing envelopes and going to UPS. Like, it was a whole thing. I had it on my website. Didn't really advertise it much, but I quickly took it down. So this is in 2016, like 2015, 2016, when God gave me Bold Believers. I did do the merchandise, but I didn't stick with it. And God has been inviting me to get back to what he instructed me to do. And here, as I am commemorating Bold Believers conception, May 28th of 2015, this is also me publicly just getting in alignment and sharing that I have relaunched the merchandise, the Bold Believers merchandise. You can boldly wear your faith. And this is one of my designs. This design I actually created in 2019. It was featured in a university bookstore of the Bible college that I was attending. It was featured for a whole year, and I have sold it. I have now did a soft relaunch in Seattle last month, and then did another soft launch here in Dallas. But I want to make it available. Hello, Jeff. I want to make it available to you as well, and you can shop all of our merch on our website, boldbelieversunited.org. Click on shop in the drop down menu and support the ministry. I ask that as we now stepped into 9 years since God gave me the vision, he called me to start Bold Believers United this day 9 years ago. And I am getting in alignment. I am obeying and going wherever God is calling me to go. I haven't done it perfectly, but I've tried to be faithful. And I ask that you celebrate with us and you partner with us through sowing into the ministry or through purchasing some bold merchandise and sharing it and boldly wearing your faith. We have unisex for girls and for guys. We have crop tops for the ladies. We have sweatshirts. We have hoodies. We have merchandise that I'm asking that you support the ministry because your purchases literally help us to put on our programs, helps us to sponsor youth. It helps us to go on bold missions and do what we do. And God called me to unite his people across the globe, but he also was showing me that the part of that calling is awakening, equipping, and activating believers to literally boldly live for Jesus Christ in a way that's uncompromised. Don't compromise the truth, but boldly live for Jesus Christ and allow him to move in and through you wherever he wants to send you, whatever he's calling you to do. If it's fully in ministry, if it's in the marketplace, wherever that God is placing you, and I'm saying this to you too, wherever God has called you, boldly go and do it. Obey. I'm on here sharing my testimony that 9 years ago is when God called me to start Bold Believers United. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know the full vision, but I gave God a yes, and he has been faithful on this journey. He's been faithful. So whatever God has given you the vision for, whatever you've seen the seed being deposited or conceived, water it and just take a bold step and trust that God will lead you and guide you in the way that you are to go. You don't need to know the details. You don't have to know, but follow those breadcrumbs, follow the glimpse, follow the vision, follow what you feel he's calling you into, and he will literally, he'll order your steps, but he will redirect your path when you get off, okay? But don't let not knowing be the reason why you sit. Don't let not knowing be the reason why you don't obey because you don't know all the steps. I did not know I didn't know most of the things until I stepped into it. And when God called me to release products and to do merchandise, this is one of my designs, I actually didn't even know that I was creative in that way. Honestly, like my jobs have been very, just more like order process systems and leading people. I didn't know that God has given me artistic side, but as I followed him, he showed me more things about me. I designed my Bold Believers United logo on a napkin in the air, flying on Southwest, like a year after he gave me or called me to do it. I see the vision, and then I write it and then send it to a graphic designer, or I sketch it out and send it to a designer to make it come to life. But every word on here is by design. It's intentional as we are boldly wearing our faith, and people are searching and looking for so many things, but what they are searching and looking for and don't even know is Jesus. So how can we point people to Jesus? How can we point people to Christ in all that we do and all that we are? And even our wardrobe is something that God can use to draw all men unto him. It's a tool to evangelize and share the good news of Jesus Christ. And so God was showing me things about me that I didn't even know about me, that actually he's called me, he's given me this creative gifting, and I can see something and draw it out. I can see it, I can draw it out. But he shows me, and it's from him. It's from him. And I was like, okay, I can draw it out. But it's funny because then it reminded me when I was in elementary school and I won a contest. I drew like a rocket and won a contest. And then in high school, I won some like sketch contest, but I never would have called myself creative in that way. Hello, Miss Anderson. I never would have called myself creative that way. But life, we can nurture certain gifts in ourselves at the expense of nurturing the God-given gifts that we're overlooking, or they're lying dormant because maybe our profession doesn't require them, but God has put gifts on the inside of each of us. And as we follow God and we give him a yes, God begins to unlock the gifts that he's placed on the inside of you. And it's uncomfortable to like be a novice, to be new at something. It's like, wait, but I've succeeded at this thing. But God will call you into something new, and then he will show you what has been inside of you all along. And so when God was showing me to do this merchandise, to sell products, I was sketching out designs. I have literally a whole notebook of designs. I was sketching out things, and he was showing me that that'll be on the shirt, and this will be on this, and this will be on a billboard, and this will be in a store. It was like, really, God? I know I'm a speaker. I know you called me to preach. I know you called me for these other things, but he's like, I have given you gifts. Hey, Aaron. God's like, I have given you gifts that are on the inside of you. I've given you gifts. And Aaron is one of my former coworkers, And it's so funny, Aaron, I'm talking about as we follow God, that he unlocks the gifts that he's placed on the inside of us. And I'm celebrating today 9 years since God called me to start Bold Believers United. It was today, 9 years ago, when I was working at Uplift Education and I was heading to speak to a group of students at Austin College. And as I am just reflecting on God's faithfulness over these 9 years of just saying yes when I didn't know what that yes meant, but God unlocked creativity that was always a part of who I was, but it was in seed form and I didn't nurture it. And part of the celebration today is releasing the shop that I have created for Bold Believers. That you go to our website, boldbelieversunited.org. You can purchase merchandise. I'll drop the link in the comments. boldbelieversunited.org. You can shop, support the ministry, purchase, and all of the proceeds support the ministry, our mission to boldly do all that God has called us to do. You can partner with us through sowing, through monthly giving, through one-time gift. And we ask that you also pray with and for us, and we are praying for you. But I remember my coworker, Erin, we were traveling for work, and she asked, we were talking in the car, I was like, what do you like to do for fun? And I mentioned dance and photography, and she's like, oh, those are all like really creative things. She's like, I wouldn't have known that about you. And I remember it was actually that day, I remember whispering in my heart, like, Lord, I repent, because someone who works closely with me wouldn't even know that the things I love most are actually the creative things. Because at work, I'm so this, like I operate more on the logical side versus on the creative side. But I was like, yeah, that's why I enjoy curriculum design. That's why I enjoy training and development, because I get to create. Right. And so it was actually one of those conversations I had with my coworker back then that helps me to realize how much I suppressed the gift of creativity. But in this season, I am boldly obeying all that God has called me to do. And part of that is releasing this merchandise. And this is one of the designs. And you can go on our website, boldbelieversunited.org, click on shop in the drop down menu and purchase, and also just boldly wear your faith. And I want to encourage you to do all that God has put in your heart to do. Boldly do it, boldly go and trust him, because he will never leave you nor forsake you. That's it. So as I am just grateful and reflecting on year 9 since God called me to start Bold Believers United, and I didn't do it perfectly. I didn't always obey. Clearly, I started the merchandise 2015, 2016, 2017, I put it down and I'm picking it back up again, right? I put it down, but I'm picking it back up again. God doesn't need our perfection, but he does need our obedience. And when we pause and when we get off path, trust him to redirect us and trust that he will lead us and guide us in the way that we are to go. And so this is just a testament of that. And here I am 9 years later, picking something back up that he put in my hand in 2015 when he first called me to do Bold Believers United. But I didn't know how. I didn't know how to run the store. I didn't know how to find the vendors. I didn't know how to have a vendor to where the profit and the price would even make sense for the time and the labor. Like, I still don't even know, y'all. I don't even have it all together. But what I am committed to was just boldly obeying and learning through the process of trusting God and just taking a bold step forward. And so I invite you to shop boldbelieversunited.org and click on shop in the drop down and support the ministry, because it supports the mission as we awaken, equip, and activate believers across the globe, literally across the globe. It supports our mission, and it literally gives us the resources that's needed to boldly go. Partner with us, sow into the ministry. Hey, Denise, sow into the ministry, Bold Believers United, and pray with and for us. And Denise is another former coworker. I was just shouting out Erin on here as she's on. And this was the day 9 years ago when I was working at Uplift that God called me to start Bold Believers United. This day, May 28th of 2015. On my way to speak to the group of students at Austin College that Denise asked me to speak, and she couldn't make it. And it was a moment that was predestined because God wanted my time He wanted my attention. He needed me to be in a long car ride by myself to hear him. And that I was doing good. And he said, education is important, but salvation is more important. And people are dying, they don't know Jesus. And he said, April, do something. So it was this day in 2015 that God called me to unite his people across the globe and gave me the calling and the vision for Bold Believers United. And I said yes. I didn't leave until that following school year, June 30th, 2016. But it was this day that God showed me what he was calling me to do on the earth. And so 9 years later, here I am, still seeking him, still figuring it out, still fumbling forward. But I can say that I am definitely in a place where I want to boldly obey. I want to boldly obey God. Yes, and Denise said, what a memorable moment. It's so memorable. And like having y'all hop on, like my former coworkers, definitely like it reminds me of the moment in such a real way. And God is so faithful. He's kept me all of these years and not even knowing what he was saying to do, but just trusting him that he would lead me and guide me. He told me he would. He said, I'll show you. And he has, and he's been faithful. And I just want to encourage you to boldly do whatever God has put in your heart to do, whatever he is calling you to do, no matter how scary it may feel. Trust him and take one step forward and know that he will meet you on the other side and he will do the rest. But he requires our works to match our faith. But it's not by works that is done. It's our faith. And our faith is literally the evidence, is the evidence of like, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's the evidence of the unseen. But trust God and put your faith in him. And I ask that you continue to support the ministry that God has given me, Bold Believers United. Go to our website, boldbelieversunited.org, and purchase a shirt. We have many designs from t-shirts, crop tops, to hoodies. And boldly wear your faith, point people to Jesus, share the good news as I am relaunching on this journey, and just committed to boldly going. And also partner with us. I invite you to sow into Bold Believers as we're in our 9th year from the God vision in that moment, and also pray with us and for us. And Aaron said, love seeing all the goodness you are doing in the world. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. And the many conversations that I got to have with our amazing Road to College team definitely helped me to see me and to embrace what God was calling me into. And Aaron, I often reflect on, I was talking to you like, I think I'm going to marry a pastor. He's like, what if you are the pastor? And I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, you're a strong leader. Maybe you are the pastor. Right? And like, I reflect on this conversation like, ooh, that was the calling that I didn't fully embrace, but my coworkers were like, maybe it's you. And yeah, that was just part of the journey and part of the surrendering. So thank y'all for your love. Definitely was such a necessary time in my life and part of this journey. So yes, we'll have to have a reunion one of these days, or at least via Zoom. But yeah, I ask that y'all support the ministry, donate through partnering and or purchasing our merchandise, and help us to boldly go and do all of what God is saying to do. Denise said she has to hop off, but wishing you continuous success. Thank you. And I am hopping off too. I said I wasn't going to be on here long, but having my coworkers, my team on here definitely took me down memory lane even the more. So thank y'all for supporting. Thank you for your love. Thank y'all, everyone who's on, just for rocking with Bold Believers United, for believing in the vision and for trusting me with your children, trusting me to speak live, trusting me by even listening to lives and going on this journey with me, because yeah, it's definitely God's doing, and I'm grateful to be trusted by him and to be used, and literally to him be the glory. So here's to year 9 and many more to come. Visit boldbelieversunited.org and hit shop or donate, and God bless you.